Fourth house moon brings asakti, attachment. Reminds me of a beautiful story. Once it happened, Ananda said to Buddha that I have been following you for 40 years and yet I haven't attained enlightenment. Whereas those who came after me, those who became your followers after me, they have attained, but I haven't. Why? And Buddha said, do you remember those 3 conditions? When you had met me, you had put 3 conditions. The first condition was that I should be always with you. The second condition was that I should answer all your questions. And the third condition was that if you bring anybody to me, then I will have to resolve his or her problem. Those 3 conditions that you put, those 3 conditions have become the hurdle between you and your attainment. And Ananda started crying. He said, now what? And Buddha said, now I will have to die. Because it is only when I die that all those 3 conditions that I accepted will be dissolved. And exactly 24 hours after I die, you will attain enlightenment. And it is said that when Buddha died, exactly after 24 hours, Ananda attained enlightenment. The essence of the story is that 40 years were spent because he laid those 3 conditions. And those 3 conditions were laid because he was very attached. Asakti. He wanted to make sure that I am always with the Master. Wheresoever Master moves, I am like his shadow. And Buddha said, accepted. He wanted to make sure that whatever I ask, the Master answers. Buddha accepted it. And he also wanted to make sure that whosoever he brings to Buddha, Buddha will heal him, will help him. And Buddha accepted. But in these conditions, he wasn't able to surrender in totality. That asakti, that attachment remained. These conditions were just because of that attachment. Otherwise, Mahakasyap never laid any conditions. And Mahakasyap was the first disciple of Buddha who attained enlightenment. He was the first. He wanted to be the last, but he became the first because he had no attachment, no asakti. Whereas Ananda, because of his attachment, because of his fear that the Master will slip away from my hand, he laid those 3 conditions and Buddha accepted them. 4th house moon is a placement which brings this kind of attachment. The person remains attached to all the things, all the people in his or her life. And Buddha has said that the root of suffering is attachment. And that is why 4th house moon often brings sufferings because of this attachment. The very idea that love is because of attachment is wrong. Real love happens only in the state of detachment. The more you are attached, the more you become possessive. The more you are in fear that whatever I am clinging to may slip out of my hand someday. That is how a mother is. She is attached to her child, her son. She always wants to control her son. And this creates problem because tomorrow the son is going to get married. But even though he gets married, the mother is very possessive of her child. The same case is with the wife. She also wants to possess her husband. The same case is with the boyfriend. He also wants to possess his girlfriend. The same is the case with the girlfriend. She also wants to possess her boyfriend. So you see, if more and more you become possessive, then it only leads you to miseries. You will learn more as I reveal many details about moon in the 4th house. So let's begin. Emotions, emotions, and more emotions. The native with 4th house moon is like a crab. Have you seen a crab? A crab looks very hard on the outside, but inside it is very soft. It is full of emotions, full of sensitivity, full of love. However, all of this will be visible to you only when they let you in. And that is the whole point. That these men and women take time to let you in. They will trust you only after they are 100% sure that you are a safe person and in no way you can cause any harm to them, mentally or physically. And once they let you in, then they will shower the love of this whole universe on you. Then they will embrace you and you will experience their warmth, their affection, and their commitment towards maintaining a good relation with you. So on the circumference, these natives may appear not friendly or not receptive, but that is because they first want to confirm if you are safe for them. Safety is what matters to these natives. They are not risk takers. They like to play safe. And so such a woman will not rush into the matters of love, for she likes to take her own time until she is sure that the man attracted towards her can make her feel safe. A woman having this placement needs an assurance from her lover that says, "You are safe with me, I promise. And when you get scared, look me in the eyes, hold me a little tighter and smile, because I am not going anywhere." Once the woman gets this assurance, only then a woman with this placement will accept you as her lover. Sex life is very conventional for a native having moon in 4th house. These natives generally are not comfortable with one night stand. They are not those kind of men or women who will just have quick sex and move on. They need a strong emotional bonding. Only then they will be ready to jump in the bed and have good sex. And then that sex will be too intense, too wild, too deep, and orgasmic in the true sense. These natives will have sex only when they get emotionally attached to their lover. Until then, they will wait, they will not rush, and when they give in, then they go wild, then they will rock in the bed. 4th house, 8th house, and 12th house are high voltage houses, meaning there is a lot of drama, lot of action and laughter connected with these houses. Many dramatic events, tragedies, twists and turns, ups and downs happen with placement of moon in these houses. Reminds me of the great Hollywood actor Christopher Reeve, who became an American icon with his super hit movie Superman. I think nobody could ever replace the charming, intense persona of Christopher Reeve in this Superman movie series, though many have tried. Christopher Reeve had a major life-changing accident while riding his horse, whose name was Buck. Christopher fell down while riding on Buck, and the accident was so severe that his body was paralyzed. And for the rest of his life, he remained on medical support. Christopher Reeve had his moon in 4th house. As mentioned, 4th, 8th, and 12th house moon, these cusps are highly dramatic, traumatic, and transformative in nature. A quick look into the Superman famed Christopher Reeve's horoscope. Reeve's moon is in the 4th house in direct conjunction with Mars. He met with that terrible accident exactly when he was running through Sun Mahadasha and Saturn Antardasha. If you observe closely, then Sun is in Moon's nakshatra, and 12th house lord for Leo is Cancer. Cancer, the sign ruled by Moon. And Saturn's 6th house lord for Leo is in Mars nakshatra, leading him to hospitalization for the rest of his life. However, he never gave up. He took to writing, and he wrote a beautiful book titled Still Me, which became a bestseller. He had a very short lifespan. Christopher Reeve said goodbye to this world when he was 51 years old. The on-screen love chemistry between him and the heroine of the movie, Lois Lane, enacted by Margot Kidder, was indeed a beautiful work of art. I think nobody can replace her or bring the charm that she brought to this fantastic movie, Superman. 4th house moon does bring much emotional turmoil in life. However, an evolved soul just laughs out at all such odd events, or rather jokes, that take place in his or her life. Sooner or later, he or she realizes that God is joking all the time. Remember, God is always joking. Look at your own life. It is a joke. Look at other people's lives and you will find jokes and jokes and jokes. Seriousness is illness. Seriousness has nothing spiritual about it. Spirituality is laughter. Spirituality is joy. Spirituality is fun. says the master. Osho also had his moon in the emotional house, 8th house. Similar is the state of 4th house moon, just that the emotions of 4th house moon are before the stage of self transformation, while the emotions of 8th house moon are after the stage of self transformation. Whereas by the time moon reaches the 12th house, the person's emotions are purified. He goes in the state of trance where there is only love, pure unconditional love, and nothing else. 4th house moon placements signify that the person is quite materialistic by nature, meaning he is very much interested in the worldly affairs. He wants to study, he wants to attain a good status in life, he wants to get married, and he wants to have children, and overall he is very much interested in following the conventional way of life. 4th house moon native is conventional by nature, whereas 11th house moon native is unconventional by nature. That is why Cancer moon sign and Aquarius moon sign should never marry each other, because one is a Buddha while the other is Joseph Stalin. Buddha is caring, Stalin is dominating. How will the marriage last? In astrology, such a match is called Shadashtak, meaning when your moon sign is 8 house away from another moon sign. For example, your moon sign is Aquarius, and so if you count 8 signs away from Aquarius, then you will arrive at the sign of Cancer. And so if your mother-in-law's moon sign is Cancer and your sign is Aquarius, then expect a lot of noise and quarrel happening between you and your mother-in-law, because Cancer and Aquarius are Shadashtak. And the primary reason for this is that Cancer is a very conventional sign, whereas Aquarius is a highly unconventional sign. Now when it comes to house placement, then it is but natural that a person having moon in 4th house will not go well with a person having moon in 11th house. 4th house moon makes the native a mommy's boy or a mommy's girl. These natives are too much attached to their mother, and this can create a major problem, because when the native gets married, he always listens to his mother, and the native's wife goes on suffering because he never listens to her advice. He always follows the orders of his good old mommy. 4th house is the world within you. 10th house is the world outside you. And so when moon is in the 4th house, and if there is a certain spiritual touch to the horoscope, then this placement can become a great asset for doing meditations, because the 4th house is an inward house, and if the native has the right combination of planets, then turning inwards becomes much easier and the journey within begins. The great Sufi saint Rumi says, "You have no need to travel anywhere. Journey within yourself. Enter a mine of rubies and bath in the splendor of your own light." With the placement of moon in the 4th house, this is very much possible, provided the native is an evolved soul and his or her horoscope has a certain spiritual touch to it, certain combinations that signify that the person is spiritual by nature. 4th house moon placement makes you more attached to the affairs of the world, as if you are too much tied to this human world. And so many a times the person feels suffocated, because if there is no window to your life and you have kept yourself in a locked room just because that's what makes you feel safe, then in a way you are suffocating yourself, which unfortunately very few with this placement are able to realize. The great spiritual master Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj says, "The window is the absence of the wall, and it gives air and light because it is empty. Be empty of all mental content, of all imagination and effort, and the very absence of obstacles will cause reality to rush in." So deep, so deep. Since I consider fourth house men and women as my friend, I want to help them realize that it is good to a certain limit to get involved with the worldly affairs, but it is not good to get entangled into the matters of the outside world that you forget yourself. The Master says, "I see what you too could see here and now, but for the wrong focus of your attention. You give no attention to yourself. Your mind is all with things, with people and ideas, never with yourself. Bring yourself into focus. Become aware of your own existence." The most important advice to all natives having moon in fourth house is, give attention to yourself. Spend some quality time with yourself by meditating, by chanting the name of the Lord. Meditation provides you a way of learning how to let go. Always remember, every bad karma has a remedy. Compassion, meditation, chanting, and charity is the remedy. Fourth house being a house of the moksha trikona, meaning the triangle of liberation, moon in this house does signify the potential that the person can attain liberation, can attain moksha. However, if Rahu is strong, then the clinging nature prevents the native from attaining moksha. Fourth house moon is often seen clinging to things, to people, to everything that they come across. And Buddha says, you only lose what you cling to. Reminds me of a beautiful Buddha story. There was a Buddhist nun. She had a beautiful golden Buddha statue made of pure gold. And the nun used to carry this Buddha statue wherever she would go. Buddhist monks and nuns have to go on moving for 8 months in the year, except the 4 months of rain. So from one temple, from one monastery to the another. She was staying in one of the temples of China. She had gone to travel to Chinese temples and monasteries. And that temple has 10,000 statues of Buddha. It is a unique temple in the whole world. 10,000 statues. Almost the whole mountain has been cut into statues of Buddha and made into a temple. Perhaps it has taken centuries to build it. And she was staying there. And this had been her constant worry. Every morning when she worships her golden Buddha statue, she puts flowers, sweets, burns incense sticks. But you cannot depend upon the wind, upon the breeze. The fragrance arising out of the burning incense stick may not reach the golden Buddha's nose. It may move to any direction. And in that temple, there were 10,000 other Buddha statues. And the fragrance was going to other Buddha's noses. And this was intolerable. This was too much. She was feeling very hurt that her own poor Buddha is not getting any incense. And all those vagabonds. And my Buddha is golden, made of gold. And they are just stones. And after all, my Buddha is my Buddha. This is how the mind of native having fourth house moon functions. It is so possessive. It cannot even see that they are all statues of the same man, of Buddha. Which nose is getting the fragrance of the incense does not matter. It is reaching the Buddha. But my Buddha, the old possessive mind continues. So she devised a small method. She brought a bamboo, a hollow bamboo, and cut it into small pieces. She will burn the incense and put the bamboo on top of it. One side will take the incense smoke in, and the other side she will put on the nose of her golden Buddha, almost like making him smoke. But that created a problem. Her Buddha's nose became black, and that disturbed her even more. She asked the high priest of the temple, "What should I do? My poor Buddha's nose has become black." He asked, "But how did it happen?" She said, "I feel very embarrassed to say it is my own doing." And then she explained the whole thing. And the priest laughed. He said, "All these are Buddhas here. One Buddha or 10,000 Buddhas, to whom it reaches does not matter. You should not be so possessive. Buddha cannot be yours and cannot be mine. The nose of Buddha has become black because of your possessiveness." And the priest said to her, "We are making each other's faces black because of our possessiveness. If we could give without even thinking to whom it reaches, because to whoever it reaches is part of the same existence as we are part of, it reaches to us." Fourth house moon brings intense possessiveness, and a possessive man or a possessive woman simply misses the whole beauty of life. A possessive man can never love, because love exists as long as there is no possessiveness. Love is not possessiveness. Many people think that's what love is. You possess somebody totally. To possess somebody is to destroy all possibility of love. Love is rooted in two things. It has to be rooted in freedom, and it has to know the art of trust. Fourth house moon becomes a great obstacle in attaining love, because the native is too attached and possessive by nature. Drop the idea that attachment and love are one thing. They are enemies. It is attachment that destroys all love. Fourth house directly connects with the zodiac sign Cancer, and the very nature of Cancer sign is to cling. That is why Ashlesha Nakshatra exists in the sign of Cancer. Saturn is also not willing to let go. That is why the nakshatra of Pushya, ruled by Saturn, exists in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is not as expressive as Leo is. Remember this. Punarvasu only has one small pada, the last fourth pada in the beginning of Cancer. Otherwise, the whole of Cancer zodiac is occupied by two clinging stars, Ashlesha and Pushya. And so, the placement of moon in fourth house does bring this nature of clinging and being possessive to the forefront. However, if Ketu is powerful in the birth chart, then this placement of moon can work wonders and help the native in progressing on his or her spiritual path. As I have always said, first see whether the birth chart is Rahuish or Ketuish by nature. And moreover, even though Ketu is strong, see whether Jupiter, who is Ketu's guru, is also strong and well placed in the chart. Because Ketu is a great spiritual energy whose control is in the hands of the guru, that is Jupiter. And so in a Ketuish Kundali, Jupiter must be strong, else things can go the wrong way. Moon alone in the fourth house simply gives the results based on the sign lord and nakshatra in which it is placed. However, moon with a specific planet in the fourth house alters the whole results of moon in fourth house. Since moon is mind and mind is like a mirror, whatever comes before it, the mirror reflects accordingly. So whatever planet comes in conjunction with moon, then moon becomes like that planet. Because moon is a mirror and a mirror reflects exactly that which comes before it. A writer or an author has to have well channelized emotions. Reminds me of the great Russian writer Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy is a writer who is regarded as one of the greatest authors of all time. His books were nominated several times for Nobel Prize, though he never was awarded the Nobel Prize. Great men are not behind awards, so that didn't affect his spirit. He continued to offer great work of literature to his readers across the world. Leo Tolstoy has his moon in the fourth house. A quick look at his chart. As you can see, moon in fourth house is in Uttara Falguni, which is the sun's nakshatra. And sun is in the third house with Mercury also in the third house. Third house signify writing, and Leo Tolstoy wrote many great books. One of them was the book titled War and Peace. Overall, moon in fourth house makes you emotionally attached to your mother, to your homeland, to your traditions and customs. This placement depicts a very conventional way of life, unless Rahu or Ketu is in conjunction with moon in the fourth house. When Rahu or Ketu is in conjunction with moon, then the person follows a very unconventional way of life. Being unconventional means doing that which is generally not accepted by traditional society in which you live. For example, marrying a woman who is elder to you, or marrying a partner who belongs to different caste or different religion, or doing many unconventional things in businesses or at job. Interestingly, many unconventional ideas or ways have actually provided this world with many beautiful creations. One of them is the Taj Mahal. People will always stop you from doing the right thing if it is unconventional. However, you should not stop. You should continue to walk on the unconventional way, because the real thing, the real truth is found only through the untested, never tried ways, which is the unconventional way. The master always walks on the unconventional way. However, moon in fourth typically gives a conventional way of life, which is also not bad, since a conventional way of life is a perfect way of having a comfortable life. Such men and women always like to live in their comfort zone. To them, comfort and safety is more important. Unconventional way is full of challenges, full of dangers, full of risks, but it is through this unconventional path that a Buddha is born. Conventional way is full of comforts and safety, but nothing really grows or matures in a comfort zone. Always remember, great things never come out of comfort zones. Don't confuse comfort with happiness. Life begins at the end of your comfort zone. But there are millions of people on this planet, and each one has a choice to make. And the house placement of moon simply shows the past birth journeys of the mind. So everything cannot change in this birth, but you can always try. You can always dare to step outside your comfort zone and experience the thrill, the adventure in your life, and thereby mature in the true sense by following your unconventional, crazy heart. If you ask me, then I love crazy people because they are unconventional, they are mad, and because they are mad, because they are insane, they can listen to that which you can't. And those who were seen dancing were thought to be insane by those who could not hear the music. Fourth house moon is not a crazy person. He or she follows the conventional way of life. That is why often there is a mismatch when they marry an unconventional person. And now if you ask me that why does a conventional man marries an unconventional woman, then let me remind you, opposite attracts. The simple is attracted towards the complex. The complex is attracted towards the simple, and that is how people continue to screw up each other. That is how this whole world operates. That is how the way of this world is, and that is why it is called a strange world. Remember, this world is a strange world, and the strangest thing is that we go on trying to change the inner by changing the outer. And it is not possible in the very nature of things. You can change the outer by changing the inner, and not the vice versa. Living in this strange world becomes easier when you follow the conventional path of life. That's what fourth house moon natives do, and that is why they find their comfort. But comfort is not happiness. But to realize this, one has to start walking on the unconventional path. Only then can he understand the true meaning of the word happiness. Meditate. Jai Sri Ganesha. Jai Guru.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.